Yes, that is the sound of, well, that just means it's our Conservative Future segment. I want to welcome to the program future conservative or conservative now, young conservative, Austin Wilson joins us by phone. Austin, welcome to the Paul Herald program, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So you are you the president, the head of the North Central Arkansas Young Republicans? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell us, first off, tell us about that organization, like everything we need to know about the North Central Arkansas Young Republicans.
Well, we're newly founded. We started about a year ago. We cover the Marion, Baxter, and Boone County of Arkansas, so the North Central Arkansas part of Arkansas. We cover 3 counties, which is the first time ever done. Ages from 18 to 40. Well, we welcome anybody. Our main objective is just kind of get millennials involved, make sure they know they have a word to their government. We also provide campaign opportunities, working pool opportunities, and very active in community events. So
if you're 41, you're saying, you're not necessarily saying that you're old, but you're saying you're no longer young.
That is the age bracket, but if you're 41, you're still welcome into our program, but you would be a associate member.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's so you've made provisions for the. I mean, what would you call that? You don't want to victimize the age challenged. You know, we don't want to do that in this day and age. We're Austin.
Oh no,
Austin. So tell us. All right, first of all, how did you get involved with this? Like, what's your background? And how old? First of all, how old are you, Austin?
I'm 22.
22. And are you in school?
I've not went to college yet. I have been forced, or not forced, but encouraged to go study college and get a degree in something. So I am hopefully getting to start that next semester.
Okay. Well, so tell me a little bit about because I think it's great. I don't think it's bad that you're not in college yet. You're not in school yet. I think we're fast becoming. It's not a necessity as much as it used to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can go and learn a skill in Google and everything else, but I mean, it still works for a lot of folks. Austin, how did you become a conservative? Like, what? You're young. You're 22 years old. How did you become a conservative?
That's just the way I was raised, honestly, off of beliefs. When I went to go register vote, honestly, I didn't know the difference between a Democrat and a Republican, so I Googled it. I didn't go to my parents. I didn't go to, neighbors, because I knew if I went to them, they would probably try to sway me. And so I Googled the difference, kind of read my beliefs and what I believed in, and then, my studies show that, Republican is who I am, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's very so tell me, Austin, what does conservatism mean to you? When you hear that word, it can mean a lot of different things these days. What does it mean to you?
In my heart, I'm all about community, so conserving small local towns. So kind of conserving, home-based.
You mean like local government, like the government governs best when it's closest to the people, that sort of thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who did you back in the Republican presidential primary? I mean, it was a wild race. I was a Ted Cruz guy, of course, until
I was Donald Trump from day one.
Donald Trump from day one. One. Wow. Well,
I even have an American flag suit in my car right now, about to go wear it for him.
So you and my buddy Richard Castor both were Trump supporters from day one. That's pretty good. So it was a wild. I mean, I'm 33. You're 22. I don't think we'll ever see a presidential election like that ever again, ever. And I'm kind of disappointed because we got a lot more elections to live through, I hope. But I it's got to be worse if you're 22. I don't think we'll ever see one as wild as that, because I mean, it was just him winning. It was so improbable, and people wake up every day, business owners wake up every day, really grateful that Hillary Clinton isn't living in the White House.
Correct.
So what do you think? I mean, you think it was a wild election?
It was very wild. You know, you had to the left somebody I did not want in the president. I told my parents if Hillary got in the White House, I would move. I was one of those guys.
Wow.
And my family's from Minnesota, so they were very all for her. So I haven't really talked to my family since then. And then,
so does your family, Austin, know that you're the president of North Central Arkansas Young Republicans? And did you start this group, by the way?
Yes, they know, and yes, I did start this group.
Okay, so the Minnesota family, they do know that you're a young Republican?
Yes.
Okay, and what do they think of that?
They just kind of put me as the black sheep, and we really don't conversate anymore. I know that's kind of sad, but
yeah, it is. It's sad that politics would divide us like that, and a lot of it has to do with it really all depends on who you get your news from as well. I mean, if you're focused on one singular source, I'm not a fan of just a singular source all the time, because you just never know, what they may even leave on the cutting room floor. But when you start, it's funny, when you do talk to people who are leftists and you start to question or give them the truth about what a particular story is, it's almost like you're attacking their religion. And this is just my experience. What is your experience?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like yours, I feel like I'm a little more religious than the rest of my family, but we've never really talked about politicals or religion until this year. And then I learned a lot, and I was like, let's sit down at the dinner table and let's, figure out why you're voting for Hillary, for instance. Half of them were for Hillary and half of them were for Bernie Sanders. And I was like, can you explain why?
Mm-hmm.
You can, explain why and support yourself. I'll be fine with it. But, none of them really knew how to back themselves.
Yeah. So do you know anything? Do you follow, kind of switching gears here, do you follow any state politics, Austin, at all?
A little bit, not as much as I should.
Yeah.
The closest thing I do have to state politics is my current state rep, Jack Fortner. I ran his campaign, and that's how I got into where I am. Okay.
All right. So let me ask you this. I met you at I met you at the Baxter County dinner, and that's when we exchanged information cards, and I was like, hey, I've got a young, a conservative future segment where we try to interview younger people. You certainly qualify, and we try to show the older generation maybe, hey, look, there's people coming up who actually do kind of believe like that you believe. But I'm curious, at the Baxter County Lincoln Day dinner, there was a great speaker there by the name of Jan Morgan, and I thought she did a tremendous job. And she brought up a whole lot. I mean, so if you're not listening to this program every day, which we're on, Mountain Talk 97, and we do talk about state issues as much as we can, and you can get the podcast. But she really brought to light a lot of this, this concept of, hey, Republicans need to actually be Republicans, and they need to follow the party platform. They need to vote the way they campaign. Were you aware that we have such widespread dysfunction among the leadership down in Little Rock?
I knew we had a little bit between the governor and, representatives, but I didn't know it was such large scale.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the solution is? I mean, what, in all seriousness, what do you think we the people have got to do to get through to these people that, hey, look, we're voting for reform because we're tired of high taxes. We're tired of being the highest tax state around. We're tired of, the regulations. We just went over the regulations this last long segment, at the top of this hour. So what do you have any ideas? I mean, you're 22 years old, and I'm sure you got ideas thinking outside the box. So what do you think we should do?
I don't know if it's really an idea, but I'm going to kind of pull from Jan Morgan. Like she said, the Lincoln Day dinner. when people are out campaigning, make sure you feel it in your heart and actually get to know the person personally, not only as a politician or as a statesman, but get to know them as a person, see their beliefs, and then once they're in that, office, make sure they're actually fulfilling their duties. Kind of start there. Then if they're not doing their duties, then look at getting somebody else reelected. But I think with politics or statesmen, there is always a fear of people being paid to do something dirty under the table.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and we've seen that. I mean, you have Jake Files over in Fort Smith mentioned in an FBI affidavit about wire fraud, and still no charges yet. But then you do have charges against John Woods, and you've got Mike and Neil pleading guilty to this massive corruption. And the Republican Party of Arkansas still not calling for the resignation of Jake Files, at least publicly. The Democrat Party finally did. It's very, very strange times right now in Arkansas, and I think a lot of the goal is to keep as the few people as possible from finding out what's really going on down there in their name. Austin, we're talking with Austin Wilson. He's the president of the North Central Arkansas Young Republicans. Austin, real quick, is there a website, Facebook page, or something if people wanted to go and get more information about your organization?
Yes, we have a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter. We don't Twitter much. I don't know. And then you can always call me or reach out to me. If I'm allowed to, I'll give you that contact information over the air.
Yeah, do it.
I'm Austin Wilson. The phone number is 870-416-2051. And the email is ncyrs@gmail.com.
All right. Austin, we appreciate it. And, hey, let me encourage you. Get on Twitter because there's Go ahead.
Do I have time for one question for you?
Yes, absolutely, Austin.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So last night, I think it was last night, you were talking about millennials helping out in reaching, getting uninvited from technology. I think that was last night. What's your suggestion on us bringing, how to get us involved? Anything I can do?
Hang on. First of all, I'm trying to remember what it is I said about millennials and technology. Can you be more specific? Was it me trying to say? Go ahead.
The fear of Home Depot getting shut down because they didn't know how to reach out to.
Yeah.
Because of the technology.
Okay. Yeah, so I remember this. So this was a story. It was an article on Zero Hedge, and Home Depot's freaking out because millennials are coming of age, like Austin here, and they don't know how to use hammers and nails. I'm not saying Austin doesn't, but they don't know how to use hammers and nails, and Home Depot's freaking out because they need these people to buy their products. So Home Depot's having to invest all of this money into tutorial programs about you mean you take the heavy object and you put the pointy object in the wood? I mean, it's really, and the Home Depot executive was actually on record as saying, I really thought these videos were going to be very condescending, and I was worried about people getting offended who are millennials. But no, they haven't, because they actually need the training, because we're not doing anything with our hands anymore, We're not learning these valuable skills. And so, Austin, what I would say to you is the solution to get through to some of these millennials is, I think the fact that you're not in college yet is a good thing. You got to understand something. Everybody says you should already be in college. The world and the way our society is structured now is that most, and I know guidance counselors are lovely people, but most guidance counselors, they measure their success at a local high school by what percentage of their graduating class is going to college and going to take on that debt. And that is not necessarily the case. You're 22 years old. You haven't gone to college yet. You've taken some time to think about it. You've been productive. You started the North Central Arkansas Young Republicans. I just feel like if more people were like you, Austin, things would be a lot different. Looking into these skilled trades, the crafts, the welding, the things like that is really where I think we have to go, because the sad thing is, if it were left up to your generation right now, if everybody just vanished, nobody would know how to do anything that makes the world go around, that makes our civilization work right now. I don't know if that answers your question, Austin. What do you think?
It does, so basically getting more involved with the, hands-on stuff, don't worry about don't worry. I mean, technology is great because obviously, if we didn't have technology right now, I wouldn't be on your show.
Well,
but there's got to be a fine middle.
Yeah, and
somewhere.
I've been amazed at how I guess about a year ago, my vacuum cleaner broke. Or at least I thought it broke. And I'm not the most technically inclined guy as far I don't but what did I do? I use technology and I use YouTube or Google to figure out how to take this thing apart and actually fix it myself without having to go buy a brand, so you can learn how to do so much stuff with it gets right to the tip of your fingertips. It just takes practice, repetition, and having an idea. And so that's one of the ways technology can actually help millennials, learn how to do stuff with their hands again. You know what I mean? Right. So anyway, Austin, I appreciate it. It's a great question. The North Central Arkansas Young Republicans, Austin Wilson, everybody. Austin, I appreciate you coming on the program, okay?
Thank you for having us.
All righty. Folks, that concludes yet another segment of our Conservative Future segment. If you want to be on, call me. Leave me a voicemail. Send me a text if you know somebody who needs to be on and they are a young conservative. 870-275-9799. Back